there's so many things that I've learned and that I've seen that I didn't even know existed. Like, did we learn this in nursing school, or am I supposed to know this? Nursing is everything I thought it would be, and also so many things that I never thought that it would be. But yes, it is an ER, and you should expect the unexpected. However, I was still afraid of the unexpected, if that makes sense. So let me give an example. What's up, YouTube? It's me, Jamie K, and today's video is about my 1-year anniversary as a nurse. So for those of you guys who maybe don't know me, hi, I'm Jamie. I'm 23. I became a nurse at 22 last year, so this is my 1-year update. I work in the ER and I work night shift. First of all, it's already been a year. That's crazy, mind-blowing. I can't believe that. It's been over a year because this video is late. I became a nurse last March and it's almost July. My video is late, but it's been almost a year and a half, guys. It's crazy. So time's gonna go by. Time's gonna go by no matter what. So if you're thinking about doing something, if you're wondering, should I do something? Should I be a nurse? Should I do ER? Just go ahead and do it. Because by the time you make that decision a couple weeks down the road, you could have been in the ER and learned so much already. So don't postpone it, just do it. Just literally just do it. I'm ready to get started. I have a lot to talk to you guys about. It's been a year and a couple months. I've learned a lot and I can't wait to share it with you guys. So let's get started. If you haven't seen my last video, definitely check that one out because it kind of goes over how I felt when I first started, like before orientation, during orientation, and after orientation. And then I kind of skipped to the 1 year. So I kind of want you to see the difference and how I've grown over time, because I've definitely grown over time. So first things first, I want to say is it gets better, you guys. It gets better, I promise. Me, I know everybody's different when they're starting off, but me, when I first started off, I was nervous, I was anxious, I was scared, overwhelmed, stressed, all those feelings and emotions. I had all of those. But a year later, I still get, a little nervous from time to time, but nowhere near how it was when I first started. Like, I feel so much better going into work. I used to cry before going into work a year ago, and now I don't think I've cried. I just feel more confident in my skills, in my communication. I've gotten a little bit of experience. I know a lot more. My communication has gotten better, so I go in the room knowing what I'm about to do. I immediately start grabbing what I need and talking to the patient and doing things at the same time. Whereas before, I would go in the room and I would say, "Hey, my name is Jamie. I'm about to start your blood work and give you some medicine." And we would just be talking, and then I would ask all my questions. And then I would get the IV start kit, and then I'll put the blood pressure cuff on. Like, I've learned now to go in, "Hi, my name is Jamie," while I'm putting the blood pressure cuff on. "What brought you in today?" while I'm getting the IV start kit ready, and things like that. So I've learned how to multitask and how to cluster my care. And not only do I feel more confident, but I look more confident. I look more confident as in my attitude and the way I carry myself. Like, I come in the room and I'm not twiddling my thumbs. I'm talking, I'm standing up straight, I'm looking you dead in your eye, and I look like I know what I'm about to do. And people have told me, "How long have you been a nurse?" And I'll say a year, and they'll say, "Well, it could have been a year. You look like you know what you're doing." So it's kind of just like you feel more confident, and it makes you feel a lot better about yourself. But in my last video, I was not confident at all. Like, when patients ask me questions and I didn't know, I would just be like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know." But now I feel like I can answer most, if not all, of their questions. My skills have gotten better. So Foley's, in and out, in and out. IVs, in and out. How to work the Zoll. The Zoll monitor was always a big fear of mine because there's so many things to learn on there. But I've gotten more confident a little bit with working the Zoll. I'm not afraid to ask questions. I ask lots and lots of questions. To this day, I still ask questions, and you should too. Do not be afraid to ask questions. So just with skills in general, and then also with knowledge as well. So like critical thinking and noticing when a patient is declining, and lots of medications, disease processes. There's so many things that I've learned and that I've seen that I didn't even know existed. Like, did we learn this in nursing school, or am I supposed to know this? And that's the amazing thing about working as a nurse, is that you never stop learning, and I have not stopped learning to this day. I still make mistakes to this day. Making mistakes is part of nursing. Not often, but it'll happen. Sometimes it's gonna happen, and that's okay. Nursing is everything I thought it would be, and also so many things that I never thought that it would be. Nursing is a lot. It's a big task. Nursing is a lot. Not even just a lot of work, but it's a lot mentally, physically, emotionally. Like, it's just a lot. And that's why it's also so important to have something to do outside of work, because work can be stressful sometimes. Work is busy. It's so many times where I've went without getting a lunch that's not good. I don't recommend, but that's just how the night goes sometimes. Some nights are super busy and you just can't get a lunch. So that brings me to like a couple of cons that I've noticed this past year. First off, I want to mention that I lost a lot of weight. I don't know if it's because of night shift or because I haven't been getting breaks or because I'm running around for 12 hours and getting all my steps in, but I have lost a lot of weight. I think I lost between 10 and 15 pounds. So definitely take your breaks. And if you can't get a break or if that's hard for you or sometimes it's really busy, bring something to snack on because you at least have time to sit down and drink a little bit of water and like snack on something. I mean, this might be like common sense to y'all, but for me, I didn't know. I did not know that I wouldn't get a break. I did not know about bringing snacks because I feel like I wouldn't even have time to snack. But so yes, I did lose 15 pounds. I started working out so I can kind of tone up and get some more muscle and start eating right. So I am doing better outside of work and gaining my weight back. Also kind of adjusting to the night shift. I feel like I'm totally adjusted to night shift. I don't get sleepy at work. I mean, maybe if it's slow one day, I will get a little tired, but for the most part, I don't get sleepy at work. I really don't drink energy drinks or coffee. So I feel like I'm totally adjusted to the night shift. But my off days are kind of weird. When I'm off, that very first day, it's not really an off day because you sleep the whole day. And that's probably another reason why I've lost a lot of weight is because when I get home around 7 or 8 and then I take a shower and I go straight to sleep. And same thing when I wake up. Sometimes I sleep the whole day and I wake up and I don't have time to eat and I just go to work and then I don't eat at work. So it kind of just like snowballs some days because I'm trying to catch up on sleep, but definitely don't recommend. So I'm just telling you so that you guys don't make the mistakes that I made. Make sure you eat and hydrate yourself and give yourself the nutrients that your body needs, especially night shifters. We don't get a lot of daytime sunlight, vitamin D. So make sure that you're going outside on your days off and getting some sunlight, sitting in the grass, taking care of yourself. As far as how I feel, like I said earlier that I feel more confident, but I am working on my critical thinking skills. I think that comes with more experience, just seeing everything over and over again. I don't think I really have that down. So definitely when I get labs, I will start thinking about, why am I getting this blood work? Why is the CBC important for this patient? Why is the CMP important for this patient? Why are we getting a troponin? Why are we giving this patient Pepsid? What does Pepsid do? Why are we giving this patient Robaxin and lidocaine? What does that do? Always ask the why, and that's kind of how you learn. So if the doctor ordered a medication for a patient and you don't know what it's for, why am I giving a GI cocktail to a patient with back pain? You have to think about why you're giving the medication. So don't just do it just because the doctor ordered it. That's something that I've learned. Obviously, you would think that's obvious, but make sure that you actually understand why you're giving the medication. A doctor ordered a GI cocktail, a liquid medication that you drink, and it kind of, I guess, like numbs the area. But anyway, he ordered it for a patient that came in for lower back pain. And I was like, what is this for? Why am I giving this? So definitely went and asked the doctor, and it was just a mistake, wrong patient. Doctors make mistakes all the time, just like we make mistakes. So just know why you're giving medications. It protects you and it also protects the patient. So critical thinking, it'll come with time because I haven't got my critical thinking down, but you can start by just asking why. I've also learned a lot of techniques to get things done faster. So a problem for me that I had when I first started was taking too long and being too slow. Of course, I'm brand new. Everybody's going to take longer than an experienced nurse. However, I've learned a couple of techniques to help me get in the room and get out faster so that I can have enough time to take care of everybody without making people wait too long. I've learned to get everything done in the room before you leave the room. And I found that to be the most helpful thing ever because I'm not finding myself going back in the room and then back in this room and then back in this room. So if you go in a patient's room and you have to start an IV, get the blood work, start them on some fluids, give them some medications, get a urine sample, put them in a gown, put them on a monitor. Like, do all those things. It sounds like a lot, but if you just get it all out the way within one room visit, it'll just make your life so much easier. Like I said, this might be like obvious to some people out there, but I didn't know. Like, my preceptor taught me, but I guess I just had to start doing it for myself. It's just something that I didn't know, and I feel like I want to share it with you guys so that you can know how to do it when you start working in the ER. So definitely make sure that you're getting everything done. One thing that I always put off is urine. Get the urine. It's gonna speed up the process. It's gonna speed up the process for the patient and you, so you don't have to keep going in there asking. The very first time you get the urine order, don't even ask them if they have to pee. Say, can you come try to pee with me? Let's walk to the restroom and let's try to leave a urine sample. More than half the time, they're gonna have to pee. They just feel like they don't at the time. Go ahead and get that out the way, send out the urine, and everything's checked off your list. If somebody is unable to walk, go ahead and just straight cath the urine. Go in there and get it out, send it off to the lab. Done. Guy, girl had to grab a urinal. Don't put it at the bedside. Give it to him and say, hey, I need you to leave me a urine sample in here. I'll be right back to get it. When you come back, they'll have it hanging on the bed for you. Just go ahead and get that out the way. For me, I learned that the hard way. The doctors will all be like, Jamie, can we please get the urine? That's the only thing the patient's waiting on so I can discharge them. Like, just get the urine out the way. Get everything done when you go in the rooms. I've definitely gotten more confident with unexpected scenarios or situations. So obviously it's an emergency room. You never know what to expect. But for me, I was always so nervous to get something that I didn't expect because you don't expect it. For me, that was always a fear of mine. Like, how do you work in the ER, but you're afraid to get an emergency? Like, it's just because it's something new. Like, you get comfortable when you do something every day. Like, I used to work at Zaxby's, and I got so comfortable with taking the orders, bagging the bag, and it was just easy. But when you are faced with something that you are not used to seeing every day and it's brand new, of course you're going to be scared because you're not used to it. It's not something that you've seen every day. So yes, it is an ER and you should expect the unexpected. However, I was still afraid of the unexpected, if that makes sense. So let me give an example. For example, I was always afraid of seizures because I never experienced someone have a seizure in front of me firsthand. Everybody has different experiences with different things. Of course, in school, they teach you roll them on their side and move everything out the way, protect their head and their airway, things like that. Of course, we know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 what to do, like textbook. But like I always was a little bit anxious about when it actually happens because it's just something I'm not used to. Of course, you're going to be thinking like, what if they have a seizure? I've never taken care of a patient having a seizure before. That was what was going through my mind. I could have been overthinking, but my point is to put yourself in unfamiliar situations so that you can get more comfortable with it. So if you're not like as comfortable with CPR, you have to go in there and say, I'm next. Who wants to do that, right? Nobody does. But just put yourself in those situations, go in there and say, hey, can I watch and see what to do? So next time it happens to you, you've kind of at least seen what to do, or you know what to do. So definitely put yourself in unfamiliar situations. So I got my first seizure and I was like, no, please don't do this. She was getting the whole aura and she was looking up in the ceiling. I was like, it's about to happen. She's about to seize. And she did. And I mean, we do what we learn in nursing school. We know what to do. We know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the steps of what to do, but it's just different when it happens in person. I did great. I mean, obviously, I'm the nurse. I know how to take care of the patient, but I was happy that I started getting seizure patients so I can kind of get comfortable with it. So now I'm comfortable with seizure patients. Like when I see seizure on the board come into my room, I don't feel any type of way because I've seen it multiple times now, and now I'm more comfortable with dealing with the situation. Codes for me were also I was unfamiliar with. Half of my nursing school was during COVID, so like some of our CPR and the codes that we learned were sometimes on the computer. So it's kind of like you're just really not used to doing it in person. Like obviously we know we have our BLS, we know how to do basic CPR and squeeze a bag, but at the end of the day, like you have nurses that are putting in IVs. You have nurses that are working a Zoll. Do you know how to shock the patient and switching out CPR and ambuing and putting them on the monitor and getting the blood pressure and talking to the doctor and pushing the meds? Like, it's lots of things to do and you just have to put yourself in those situations. So I always try to force myself into the codes to kind of get used to it. So every time we do have one, I try to wiggle into the room to find something to do. Definitely force yourself into unfamiliar situations. Best thing for you to do. Best thing I ever did. Also, don't be afraid to seek out different opportunities. So obviously most nurses probably do like sections, so you have like your 3 or 4 patients, but you know there's a triage nurse, there's an ambulance nurse, there's a nurse that kind of goes around doing simple meds and like a float nurse. So if you do get pulled to do triage one day. Obviously, we're new nurses. They're probably not going to do that soon. But it happened for me recently, maybe because I came up on my 1 year. But they were like, triage, you're going to do triage from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. And I was like, triage, what? So obviously, I was like, I'm not ready for that. I feel like that comes with experience. But how are you going to get good at something if you don't do it the first time? So just do it the first time. Have somebody help you, ask questions, shadow somebody. And then you'll do it the second time and the third time and the fourth time. And eventually you'll be like the best triager they have. So it's kind of like you have to put yourself in that situation, even though it's uncomfortable. But I did it from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. So it was kind of like a really good time to do it because it kind of slows down around that time. So I probably had like a patient every 20 minutes, if that. It was really slow. So I was able to ask my questions without rushing. I was learning, ask your questions, and then put in an acuity. And so it's kind of like making you think, like, what acuity should I give this patient? A 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, or a 5? So it kind of gets your brain kind of thinking about giving patients acuity. And I had an acuity class, so I was a little bit like more refreshed on it, but I still was kind of like, I don't know. But it's a really good way to learn. Like, the best way to learn is to do it and experience it yourself. You also get to put in like a couple standing orders. So somebody comes in for chest pain, you can put in the chest pain protocol, and then it'll give you like the aspirin, the EKG, and the troponin value, like things like that. Or if somebody comes in for abdominal pain, what would you want to put in? You would want to think about urine, UTI. You would want to think about, are they going to need a CT scan? Or you want to think about, if it's a woman, you want to think about a pregnancy test. But it helps you to start their care before a doctor even sees them, and it helps you learn. I think this is a really good way to start critical thinking for us new nurses, because I think critical thinking comes with experience, seeing things over and over and over again. So what do I anticipate for this patient? Like, do I think this patient will need this scan? Do I think this patient will need an x-ray? Why would this patient need a CBC? Why would this patient need a CMP? Do they need a troponin? Do they not? So it's kind of just like getting your brain to start that critical thinking process, which I feel like us as new nurses, we don't do as much because we're so focused on tasks. So getting the Foley done, putting in the IV, sending off the blood, in the urine. Like, we're not really thinking about why we're doing it. We're just doing it because it's ordered. At least I was. And so now that I have a little bit of experience, I'm kind of starting to think about, now, why am I getting the CBC? And why am I getting the CMP? And does this patient need a troponin? And why are we giving aspirin? Why are we giving this? So asking the why, I think, is the answer to how to start critical thinking. Why is this patient presenting this way? What are the possible diagnoses? You can start thinking about what you think the patient has before the doctor sees them. You can just play a little guessing game and see if you were right later on. Just don't be afraid to put yourself in unfamiliar situations. If they ask you to do triage, do it. If they ask you to come shadow the ambulance nurse, do it. That way, next time you know what to do. You know how to arrive at ambulance. You know how to assign a patient to a room. It's kind of just like putting you in different positions so you can just feel comfortable all around the hospital and not just in a section. So that helps you think. Like, even just being an ambulance nurse and assigning patients to the rooms, that's also critical thinking, because which patient are you going to give the last room to? Are you going to give it to the seizure patient? Are you going to give it to the overdose? Are you going to give it to the patient coming in with CVA symptoms? Like, it's critical thinking there too. So just put yourself in different positions. You can still learn. Obviously, it's a little nerve-wracking because we've never done it before, but that's how we learn. So don't be afraid of the unfamiliar, you guys. Throw yourself into the unfamiliar. So I think that's pretty much all the points. I was kind of like rambling on all over the place, but over the years, I've learned a lot about the body, about people, about emotions, about just a lot in general. Nursing is a lot. Nursing is hard. Nursing can be stressful. I've learned that. I've learned to accept it because this is the career path that I've chosen, and I don't regret it. So it's humbling. It's a great place to be if you are considering it. Definitely do. The ER is a great place to be. I love the ER because I get to see a lot in a little amount of time. I don't have to hold the same patient, so I get to see different things, new people. So if you're thinking about ER, I definitely think you should try it. Don't be afraid, because I was, and now I am pretty much okay with it. I feel a lot better. So, but that's my 1 year update, you guys. I feel pretty satisfied with it. I was afraid it wasn't going to get better, but it has gotten a lot better. I've got lots of questions in my comments. That makes me happy. Definitely feel free to leave more comments, more questions, and I'll answer them for you guys. Thank you for watching this video, guys. I hope you liked it. I enjoyed telling you about my 1-year experience. It felt really good to kind of reflect on what I've learned from a year ago all the way to now. First of all, it's already been a year. That's crazy. Video, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them in the comments below. I definitely will answer it. And if I missed anything, I'm almost positive, like when I turn the video off, I'm going to think of something that I missed and I forgot to put in the video. So when I think of something else, I'll make another video or I'll just put it in the comments below. But thank you guys for supporting me, following me. Definitely subscribe to me if you don't. I have more nursing videos to come. And thank you guys for watching, and I will see you later. Toodaloo.